Hey everyone, and welcome to the show. Coming up this week, a family vacation in Walt Disney World ends in tragedy. Another accident collapses a road sign on World Drive and ties up traffic for hours. Disney is considering a purchase of Twitter, and Disney also pulls a Halloween costume after accusations of racial insensitivity. Also, speaking of racial insensitivity, Oliver Green and Steve Porter will be joining us live a little later on from Disney Springs with an update on the construction going on with Planet Hollywood. We're also going to discuss some of the current rumors swirling around the internet. All that coming up next. From the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Diz Unplugged. This is the Diz Unplugged, episode 910 for the week of September 27th, 2016. The Diz Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show, coming to you live from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friends, John Magi.
Hi, everybody.
Kevin Close.
Hi, everyone.
Teresa Eccles.
Hey.
Julie Martin.
Hey, y'all.
Back in the production nook, our producer, Craig Williams.
Hello.
Along with our associate producer, Rhino Clavin.
Hello.
And it is great to be with you after a wonderful, if not exhausting, 4 days out in Disneyland. Rhino, Oliver, myself, and Tom Bell were out checking out the first night of the Halloween party at Disneyland. We also went to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal. Well, they did. I walked out, but you're going to have to tune into another show to find out why. But we had a great weekend. I'm just really jet lagged. I know Rhino is too. I don't know if it's so much jet lag as it is just exhaustion, man. I was just saying to these guys that we went commando for 4 days. Commando not being no underwear, Kevin. Commando being in the parks from like 9 a.m. till midnight every day. So it was a lot of fun, but by Sunday I was so done. I'm like, oh, please, God, get me home. And I scheduled a red eye, which meant we were just kind of like hanging around trying not to fall asleep in public the last day. But it was a lot of fun, and we'll be talking about those things on upcoming shows. We'll let you know when those are scheduled. So first up in housekeeping, I want to mention something, speaking of coming up, that we're going to be launching next week. Oliver and I have been working on this for a few months, and some of you may be familiar with a service called Patreon, which is basically something used by a lot of podcasters, YouTubers, folks with websites to allow their followers, their fans, their site visitors to donate a certain amount of money to help support their favorite shows. And this is used by a lot of other podcasters. And since we've got a lot of things coming up that, it's expensive to run the show, and I've kind of gotten to the place where it's either start taking in advertising directly on the show or do something else. I've opted to try this. So what you'll be able to do when we launch this next week is you'll be able to donate a certain amount every month, be it $5, $10, $25, $10,000, whatever, and show your support for our show. In exchange for that, we're going to be producing some exclusive content just for our patrons, in the form of vlogs, in the form of videos, in the form of articles, things like that. That will be exclusive content just to our patrons. What I do want to let everybody know is that nothing that we do now is going behind a paywall. Everything you currently get, all the shows that we do, all that good stuff, all still going to be done just the way it always is. This will be some extra stuff to say thank you to those who are showing their support. And this is going to help us offset the cost of some of the new shows we want to produce coming up in the next 3 to 6 months, as well as some other things that we want to do to help kind of improve our show and to get John to stop yelling at me for spending so much money. So that is going to be released next week. We'll have more details, but I just wanted to give everyone a heads up. So while we're talking about our shows, every Monday, disunplugged.com or youtube.com/Dreams Unlimited Travel, the Dreams Unlimited podcast.
This past week we did our question and answer show, which was for Universal Orlando Resort. We did a whole month's worth of shows on Universal Orlando, and we ended with a question and answer show. And we also, on Monday, released our video of the winner of the Dreams Unlimited Travel podcast for our Alani contest. No, it was not you. What's your name?
Teresa.
It's not you, Teresa. If you want to know who the winner is, go and watch the video. I'm not going to spoil it at this point, so go and watch and check it out. And then coming up next week, Tracy had a chance to go to the Fort Wilderness Cabins and spend some time there with her family. So she did a little mini review.
One of my favorite things to do.
She enjoyed it, and she has a really interesting take on if it's appropriate for families traveling. At what point, say, in someone's Disney experience, would this be a good option for folks for traveling? So I thought she did a really good job on that. She had some video and pictures, so that's our show.
All right, that's every Monday. DizUnplugged.com or youtube.com/DizUnplugged or Dreams Unlimited Travel. Excuse me, I am completely out of it today.
You
Sorry.
are out of it.
I am out of it. Of course, also every Monday, the Disneyland edition of the Diz Unplugged, which you can subscribe to on iTunes or listen to on DizUnplugged.com. This week, Tom reviews the Hyatt House Hotel in Anaheim. So you can check that out every Thursday, DizUnplugged.com. The Universal edition of the Diz Unplugged with host Craig Williams, along with Rhino Clavin and Oliver Green. And what is coming up in this week's show, Craig?
This week, I will be talking about the Unmasking the Horror kind of lights on backstage tour of the Halloween Horror Nights houses that is available. So.
Oh, and speaking of Halloween Horror Nights houses, they just mentioned we were out in California and the guys did Halloween Horror Nights at Universal, and they've started putting up some videos from the houses. The first one, Rhino, it's Halloween 2, Return to Haddonfield.
Halloween, Hell Comes to Haddonfield.
Hell Comes to Haddonfield.
I just called it Halloween so I wasn't putting swear words in.
Good Lord.
And
it's in Pete's sign-off every week. Damn.
Oh, that's true.
So anyway, we should put a link to this in the show notes page. People need to watch this video because it is so fun to watch these two scream like Girl Scouts
Wait
going
till you
through
get to
this.
the video where I almost got knocked unconscious with the camera. You can see my head slam into the lens and then me fall onto the ground in front of it.
And there's one, I don't know which house it was, where Rhino was filming and Oliver was coming around a corner and he sees one of the scare actors. And the reaction was just one of the funniest damn things I've ever seen.
I'm picturing Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. That's what I have in my head going on.
It's a lot more effeminate.
It's a lot more gay than that.
Yeah.
If that's possible.
Imagine that, but drag queens.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I'm in.
I can't. You really, my favorite part in those videos, though, is watch for when the scare happens and the camera shakes like that. I'm sorry, it's so funny. His scream lasts for 5 minutes, and one of them, he just starts screaming, and there's no end to it. And then you see his hand touch a door frame. I'm sorry, he almost passed out.
That's the funniest thing. He almost scared himself to death. He almost passed out and hurt himself.
So much
funny.
pain. No, oh my
now we
God.
know what makes Rhino laugh.
Yeah, really.
It's one of those things where you'll keep it in your head, and every now and then you just
back
almost
to it.
randomly start laughing at it. And, in public when people just stare at you, it's fine.
I've done that. I've done that lights on tour, Craig. I think that's really cool to see the back of the inside of those haunted houses.
Now you have to find out on Thursday what I think of it.
Okay.
It's a little controversial. They just changed some of the rules with it this past week. You can no longer take photos inside of the inside of the intellectual property houses.
Oh,
So
makes
that
sense.
was a big
Which
draw
is
to
weird
people.
because in Hollywood they are allowing you to film in the houses, which they don't allow here. Which I thought was kind of interesting that it was okay out in Hollywood, but it's not here.
It's bizarre.
So, but that's
That'll
this,
probably change now that Oliver started screaming.
probably.
You've seen the videos of Ellen and her assistant? Like the assistant goes through the Halloween
Andy,
Horror
yeah.
Nights? Yeah. It's like that, only worse.
Yeah. So that's Universal edition of the Diz Unplugged every Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and every Friday-ish, Diz Pop with Rhino Clavin and other people. And what are you doing Friday, Rhino?
This week I'm gonna do that makeup section I didn't get to last week. We did the unboxing video instead. So it's gonna be a makeup tutorial, and I'm gonna show you how to do the Chance icon from Halloween Horror Nights and just some other basic stuff. Some stuff people have been asking
Perfect
about.
arch in your eyebrow.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
waiting for the tucking video.
That's the budget for duct tape is out of this world.
What is it?
All right, then. All right, anything else in housekeeping? Nothing? All right, we got a lot of news stories to cover finally this week.
We do. And our first news story is not exactly pleasant or happy, and I think if you've got little ones, perhaps not for their ears. So come back into the show in a little bit after this story. Car crash after Disney vacation kills parents, leaves daughters seriously injured. The parents of a Missouri family were killed this week in a crash on Interstate 4 while headed to the beach. Greg and Sarah Moyers of Leadwood, Missouri, had taken their two girls on vacation to Walt Disney World and Universal Studios and were headed to the beach around 12:30 p.m. on Sunday, September 25th. A Florida highway patrolman said, quote, a Ford Focus drifted into their lane near DeLand, causing their Nissan to veer off the road and hit a tree about 12:30 p.m. The parents were pronounced dead at the scene, and Haley, 13, and Sophia, 8, were transferred with serious injuries to Arnold Palmer Hospital for Children and Women. As of Monday evening, September 26th, Haley was noted as being in critical condition and Sophie in stable condition. Charles King, 43, a New London, what state is that?
Connecticut?
No. North Carolina. Sorry. Was the driver of the Ford Focus, and he was not injured in the incident or the accident. Family and friends say the couple had saved for months to take the girls on vacation. The Moyers were raising 5 kids together. 2 of them were Sarah's sister's children. Just a very, very sad,
Incredibly sad story.
Just rough. Just really rough.
Under any circumstances. And I'm sure people will say this about whatever state or city they live in. But I certainly notice it here. If you're going to be renting a car or driving while you're on vacation, I can just ask that you be really defensive in how you drive here. The locals are insane. I've been here 18, 19 years, and it seems to, I don't know if it's me or it just seems to get worse and worse and worse, especially with this lane drifting. And we've got a lot of younger people on the roads, and I see a lot of this while they're driving.
It's not just young people either.
Yeah.
It's
That's
true.
everybody I see on the road is on their phone. I do not use my phone when I'm driving because 90% of the time I'm driving my children. I don't understand why you would put you or your children or anybody else's life in danger like that. It is so risky. It is so terrible. I mean, these poor girls, first of all, they lost their parents.
Yeah.
That's something that you don't recover from. It's something you learn to deal with. And they're so young. It's going to be so hard. I honk at people all the time for drifting into my lane. All the time.
Florida
And I'm
is-
not, I don't, and I just want to be clear. I'm not suggesting this man involved in this accident was texting, because I don't know that.
Right.
I just know that
He had to have been distracted. Though.
I know that lane drift. I see it all the time here, and like I said, I'm sure this goes on everywhere. It's not just here, but I can only reference what I see here, especially on I-4, which is where I believe this accident took place. And some of the things I see on I-4, especially if it's later in the evening. Racing is a big thing here.
Oh, that's the beach line, 528, going out to work.
And
Every day there's wrecks. Every day.
every day. So just be, just be mindful. It's so sad. It is so sad that these little girls lost their parents.
Florida, Central Florida in general is a really difficult place to drive. You have sort of a dichotomy. You have tourists who are distracted, who are looking for places or not sure where they're going or trying to get to someplace unfamiliar with the roads, but you also have locals who are frustrated with the tourists. So they'll do quick lane changes, they'll try to get around them, they'll drive a little faster. So just be super careful.
Well, you
when
also
you're
have a
driving.
lot of people who feel that the rules of the road don't apply to them.
Yeah.
I see that all the time. Cutting people off in traffic. I witnessed something that this was a couple of years ago, not far from where I live. I guess one car must have cut off another. And this took road rage to a whole new level. They were literally intentionally running into each other. One was slamming the other one in the back, and then the other one would go up alongside and sideswipe her. And this went on.
Cars were colliding?
Yes, intentionally. And it was I was watching this going, oh my God. And it was insane. These people were screaming at each other. It can get crazy here.
We also have different rules. Where I come from, where I was raised, you drove right and passed left, and you got out of the passing lane.
Yeah.
And we don't have that law in Florida, or even a recommendation of it. The pass lane is perfectly okay to go 55 miles an hour, and I think this enrages people from born in other places, because it really can tie up traffic. The other thing we don't do again, where I come from in New York State, if there was an accident, as once the police get there, the accident is moved to the side of the road. That's not true in Florida. They will wait until everything is investigated.
There are signs that say,
Move
move all
from the
accidents to the
lanes.
side of the road.
And you,
Well, I used to drive the turnpike for 10 years, and I have sat on the turnpike for 7 and 8 hours while accidents are
Well,
investigated
that's
first.
you move to the side of the road when you can, if it's like a
Right.
fender bender or something like that. But when it's a crash,
They stay
Sometimes
there.
the car can't be moved.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Is that
Well, see, in New York State, they would do everything they could to clear the highway. They don't do that here.
right?
and you actually can't drive in the passing lane either.
It said
I know
there,
because I
yeah.
just took driving school for an accident.
Is it
so-
a law here that actually says?
Yes.
Yes.
Unenforced
All
law.
slow traffic must keep to the right. There are some signs along the way.
But you
too.
could be going, and this is routine with me, 70 mile an hour, which is the speed limit, and you see them coming behind you
Yeah.
at
Speeding right up
just
in the-
and you think, okay, I got to get over, but you can't get over. But somehow they figure out a way to weave around
Yeah.
you when there's no room to, and they cut right in front of you.
Yeah.
There's a major stretch of I-4 that I drive on where the speed limit is 50 miles an hour. I go 55. I usually drive 5 over. That's illegal, sorry. But everybody that's passing me is going at least 70 miles an
Yeah.
hour through this stretch of downtown where the speed limit is 50
Are you
miles an
traveling
hour.
on that really bad construction?
Yes,
Oh my
and so the
God,
lanes
so
are constantly
dangerous.
changing. I mean, like they're constantly changing the marks of
Yeah.
the lanes, and so you have to pay close attention
do.
to know which lane is yours.
Why'd you have to go to driving school?
I was involved
tell
in
the
a fender
world.
bender. Oh. Yes. So
So just be careful, please, 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 please.
Don't be a Craig.
Really.
my
That'll
problem.
be our PSA.
My problem was that I knew my tires were starting to go bald, and I did not do something about it quick enough, and I could not stop fast enough because of it. So, check your tires.
And your brakes.
Leave it safe
And your
distance.
And don't let your 21-year-old daughters drive ever.
All right, on to our next news story, which also involves accidents. Walt Disney World directional sign falls on road after being hit by SUV. An overhead directional sign has fallen on the road at Walt Disney World after a SUV crashed into the pole. The incident happened around 3:15 p.m. last Saturday afternoon on World Drive near Epcot Center Drive. A Dodge Durango left the road, hit a guardrail, then one of the support poles for the road sign, causing the sign to fall and block the southbound lanes on World Drive. The driver of the SUV was taken to Celebration Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, according to Sergeant Kim Montes from the Florida Highway Patrol. Someone must have been going pretty fast to go through all of those things and
To
then take
take
down
out a
sign.
guardrail and still be able to take out the yeah. I mean, I don't know, but it would, you could hear that and assume that this was a high rate of speed accident. Fortunately, no one was hurt. But when you look at that picture and see that entire structure holding those massive road signs collapsed onto the roadway, you're thankful that no one was underneath it when it came
Right.
down.
And these are not high-speed roads.
No, they're not.
There's a speed limit of 50 miles an hour on those roads.
And I noticed that it's enforced much more on Disney property, that speed limit, than I see on I-4. I am constantly seeing Orange County Sheriff's vehicles on those roads, especially those main arteries going into and through property. So it is something that's watched and monitored. People do get tickets. Don't think that you're not going to get a ticket on Disney property. But I mean, I'm interested to hear what the investigation into that, like what happened. I mean, I don't know. This man could have had this person, I don't even know if it's a man, but this person could have had a medical issue that brought about the accident or something else. But
The other thing is, in Florida, there's a lot of places where traffic cameras are used. And just because an actual policeman doesn't put eyes on you doesn't mean you won't get a ticket.
Yep.
Yeah, with a little letter with the back of your vehicle. Or,
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds like you might know what that's like. You might have gotten one or two of those.
I didn't know about the letter truth. So
Yeah.
tell us about this.
Got a little picture of you smiling as you're flying down the road. It's not pretty. I heard.
So I've heard.
you've heard tell.
I heard tell.
All right, our next news story. Disney pulls Maui Halloween costume critics lambasted as, quote, Polyface. Disney announced that they would no longer sell a boy's costume for the Polynesian character Maui from their upcoming film Moana that some Pacific Islanders have compared to blackface. They have spokesman for Disney has released the following quote: "The team behind Moana has taken great care to respect the cultures of the Pacific Islands that inspired the film, and we regret that the Maui costume has offended some. We sincerely apologize and are pulling the costume from our website and stores."
Okay,
I'm going to sit back.
Well, no, look. Polyface, of course, is a reference to blackface.
Right.
Is what they're comparing it to, and not being Polynesian. I don't know. I'm sure Disney's intention was not to be insensitive with this, and I don't know if this, where this falls on that political correctness spectrum of, there are things we probably should be more mindful of, just not to hurt other people's feelings or be mean or cruel. Then there's this stuff that's just plain outright ridiculous, and it's an excuse for people to, have righteous indignation over something because they feel out of control in other areas of their lives. I don't know, but I don't know where this falls on that. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I understand that there's the idea that this is not an outfit, that this is representing the character's skin, and the person's skin color is dark, has a Polynesian look to it. I just think we're getting into this thing where now kids are never going to be able to do anything that's slightly out of the realm of what they always do. If you're not going to dress like Captain America, how are you going to learn about other cultures?
But here's the thing too, is I think that kids, more so now than at any other time, this is just my opinion, more so now than at any other time, are pretty much colorblind. The kids don't see that. They don't see black and white and brown and yellow. They just see other kids and other people. I think it's us.
Oh, I agree with that.
Oh, it
Completely.
definitely is an
Stuff.
older generation. But there's a song from the Broadway musical South Pacific. Your children must be carefully taught. So I think there are children who are taught to see those things. I think
Right.
you're right. The further generations move, the more colorblind they become.
Do you think children are watching, little kids are watching this movie and saying, "Oh, there's someone who has a different skin color than
No,
me"?
no,
I think they're looking
not.
at it and going, "Look at this great
I
thing
wanna
that's
be this
happening
guy.
in this."
I
The
think
other
they're
thing is-
looking at it and saying, "I want to have tattoos like
I wanna
that.
be-
Right.
I want to be like
Well,
him.
it's-
I want to look like him."
And that's where the argument's coming in, not so much the skin color, but because of the tattoos. Apparently, the Polynesian cultures take their tattoos very seriously because of the representation behind it, and they feel like that the costume is lampooning it because, the person who would put those tattoos on them, they earned the right to have those tattoos.
Right. And, we were just having this conversation with Nancy Johnson from our Disneyland team.
Who is covered in tattoos.
Yes, she is covered in tattoos. No, she
Next to her
has a friend that she works with who is from American Samoa. And he actually has been auditioned by Disney to play the face character of
Maui.
this character Maui in the Disney parks. And she was explaining about the tattoos and about how it's a rite of passage at different points in your life. You get certain tattoos, to represent, coming of age as a man, getting married, having children, things of that nature. And each of these tattoos means something. And on each person, they're slightly different. And the symbols mean something. So I realize it is cultural. And so that's why I'm not, I don't feel like I'm in a place to say whether or not it's truly offensive or I know for me, not being from that culture, I look at it and go, okay, what's the big deal? But I know that can also be ignorance
I also
ignorance.
think the comparison to blackface is a little bit insensitive. Blackface came from a long history of degradation.
Correct.
Slavery.
And that's not what that was almost an intentional thing.
Right.
If not,
And I think,
an intentional thing.
I think this is a little off-putting, the fact that it's compared to that, and the fact that the word polyface was used.
Yeah.
I think that's a little. There's a great deal in intent. I was called names all my life. If you called me those names, I wouldn't be offended by it. If someone on the street called me those names, I would find that offensive, and I think it's the intent. So I think you compare yourself to something that was so racially motivated and has such a negative connotation and such a negative history. I don't think that's anything of what this is.
Right.
Is it wrong? It might be. You said it all. It's my opinion. I don't see the big deal, but I'm not Polynesian. Mm-hmm. But I think to compare yourself to something else.
Well, like that, I agree with you. You big Nelly Queen. Since I'm allowed to say those things, you big mom. But I don't know. Again, I kind of find myself in that. I'll be honest. I despise to a large degree a great deal of political correctness.
I mentioned this recently. Marc Jacobs was just really taken down a notch because he used rainbow dreadlocks on his model in his last fashion show at New York Fashion Week. And I didn't see the show, but I read all about this huge thing that happened, and he was accused of cultural appropriation. And I think to myself,
Because the rainbow flag represents the gay culture.
no. He was culturally appropriating
Dreadlocks.
hair typically attributed to the African American.
I don't even know what's being insensitive anymore. I can't even pick it out.
right.
Well, that's the other part of the problem is that
Gay thing.
we
It's
don't.
like regular.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, it's gotten to that kind of political correctness has gotten to a point where it's it borders on ludicrous, and there's artistic expression. And that's what in the case of Marc Jacob, that's what that was. It was artistic expression, and it's these are the sorts of things that people jump on. I feel that they jump all over in order to have righteous indignation.
I'm not saying that was wrong, but it reminds me of this. It seems like, again, I'm not African American. I'm not Samoan. It seems like maybe we're letting too much bother us.
That's the way I feel about it, because we're all supposed to be one world, all, everybody equal, which we are, all that, everybody be as one. But they're separating it with doing this stuff, I think. Neither of my girls, and I don't think Max does either, they don't see color when they meet somebody.
No.
They don't see sexual preference. They don't see anything except another human being. And I don't know if that's the way they were raised. I think a lot of people are that way. Obviously, there's some people out there. I'm not pointing at you, Julie, but
Oh, I know. You're talking to me.
yeah, I'm talking to you. Some people out there are raising their children to be, racist. Or
I know
whatever you
people
wanna
like
call it.
that.
Yeah, I do too. They come to my house and I straighten them out.
There you go.
Yeah. So I don't know.
It seems to me, I used to teach kindergarten, and I don't mean to keep belaboring this point, but I used to have a box of costumes in my classroom, and those kids would be everything.
Mm-hmm.
A boy could be a princess, a girl could be, a warrior.
That's how it is at my house.
I think it's just, and I mean, the thing that fascinated little 5-year-old boys, which always made me laugh, was high heels. But they were like war boots and things like that. But I think it was, I can do this, and it had nothing to do with sexuality. It was all about play and experimentation. And I think to myself, some kid's going to see this movie and not be able to do this. So mom's going to go home with a magic marker and do stuff on his T-shirt.
It makes me think of, there's a picture of me somewhere when I was 3 or 4 for Halloween, dressed up as an Indian, Native American Indian, not Indian. And I can remember that. I remember loving that costume and just loving that. And now that would be considered culturally insensitive.
Exactly.
Do you remember when you were in school and you were told to sit on the floor Indian style? Mm-hmm. You can't say that anymore.
Can't say that anymore.
Now
Crisscross applesauce.
which
Hate
is
to
just
say it,
ridiculous. But you're not allowed to say that anymore. And I think, okay, I understand it. I get it. I won't do it. But I think sometimes we go a little too far.
I think some of it is necessary. I think some of it is because there has been so much insensitivity, so much racism, so much, especially there are certain groups where it's been, on the level of genocide, and that needs to be that needs to be understood. That needs to be, in order for that to stop.
Right.
We have to understand that. Then there's the point where we're just thin-skinned, and the slightest thing, the slightest word, the slightest look, is interpreted as being this whole thing, and all of this nefarious intent is assigned to people, when sometimes it's just innocent, and doesn't seem like some sections of society give an awful lot of leeway for that.
For a while, everybody was labeled a bully. If you disagreed, if you argued, you were a bully. It seems now the word is racist. And please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that racism doesn't exist, but there are some things that aren't racist. Mm-hmm. I don't know that, in my opinion, that this costume is racist.
There also is
maybe
this-
a bad idea.
There's also the idea of who is the person or the people behind, saying that this is not correct, right? They don't specifically identify a group or an organization. They say some Pacific Islanders
Yeah.
are saying it. Well, that's like, do all gay people represent me? No. If I see a character on TV, I don't get offended because they're gay, but some people do. The way people are represented.
Okay, 1993, Max was a little Indian for Halloween. The most amazing little suede fringy outfit my sister made him.
But also,
Okay, but
You sure he wasn't Cher?
My
Sounds like you
husband
might have been
is. I
Cher.
know it was Cher. My husband, who is half American Indian, and all of his people saw those pictures. Kelvin didn't, and they were like, they thought I was making fun of it. I said no, and so I had to kind of backtrack that he was celebrating his heritage, but it was just a sweet little costume.
exactly.
Yeah, well, my Finley wants to be Pocahontas for Halloween. She has a Pocahontas costume. We're going to Mickey's Not So Scary. Hopefully there won't be anyone that calls her out. I'm not going to tell her she can't be Pocahontas. She was a real life person as
Right.
well as a Disney movie.
Mm-hmm. Disney princess.
So
I do see problems when, for instance, if someone's going to portray Pocahontas in the park, that they hire someone who's not a Native American. I can understand being offended by that.
Yeah.
I can think of several movies. Katharine Hepburn played Asian. Of all things, Mickey Rooney in the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's played an Asian man. I can understand if that happens now, being offended at that. Because it's very easy to find an Asian to play a part. You know what I mean? Gosh, that sounds even... I don't mean to make them sound that disposable, but I can understand that. And I understand if someone is, why would you not try and fill that part with someone ethnically correct? That I even understand that. I don't know where that didn't really have an end.
Trailed off. There was the controversy out in Disneyland over a black actress playing the role of Elsa in the Frozen stage show. Do I have that right, Craig?
Yes.
Okay, because my producer's not acknowledging me.
Can we have anyone
awake?
play the role of Craig?
I
You need to recast
But see,
Craig.
I
here's
saw
the
the show with her.
So, and there were people that were up in arms about that. So it's again, I don't think I think we need to move on, but because I don't think we're going to solve political correctness in the next 3 minutes.
I believe we have.
I believe we have
Do
addressed
it our way.
But
do it our way.
So since I'm not gay, can I still call you by the gay names, or am I out of that loop?
no,
Sure, but I have names for you too.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
like, you're not gonna
It's,
like it.
well, it's the word. It's the word intent. The word intent is what's behind it. If you're trying to hurt me, then it hurts. That old thing about sticks and stones can break your bones, but words will never hurt me. That's not true.
I
We've
would never
realized
hurt
that,
you, Kevin.
You know what I'm saying?
There are some people at the table.
There's intent,
Right.
and I think intent.
matters.
Right.
Right.
It matters a great deal.
All right, moving
All right,
on to our
done.
next story. Disney casting for Citizens of Hollywood after cutting 1/3 of them back in April. Disney is now casting for male and female Citizens of Hollywood roles in Hollywood studios. It's unclear if this casting call would introduce more citizens to the park or replace current citizens with new faces. As part of their cuts earlier this year, Disney cut 10 Citizens of Hollywood in April. It's unclear why Disney wants to hire back these performers.
Do you want to be a citizen?
Well, the question is, are
This is
they
wrong.
just changing out the ones that are already there, or I hope they're adding people back. I hope they give back some of the jobs that were lost
Right.
in
I hope
April.
they hire back the 10 that they let go.
But because Hollywood Studios needs all the help it can get right now. It's 1/3 of a theme park at this point, and I don't know. What do you guys think?
Maybe it's just maybe it's a need basis. Maybe because the park was so scaled back and there wasn't space for them and there wasn't a need for them, they cut back and now they're reintroducing them.
But let's hope, like Pete said, that they are giving those people back their jobs and
Unfortunately, it
not
might be-
recasting. And I have a feeling more than likely they're probably recasting.
Or if they hire them back, it's going to be at a lesser rate of pay.
Or they might just be, designated walkers?
Designated walkers.
What was it?
Stylized walking.
Stylized walkers. I'm really the wrong person to talk about this because when I see them on the street, I avoid them.
Oh, I love them. I
you?
think it's great. I think they do a great job. Very entertaining. Great way to distract you from the fact that nothing is open.
See, I am married to someone who thinks if there's audience participation, he gets shingles on top of hives.
They're talking to me. Make them stop.
We saw a commercial one day for the show Zoomanity in Las Vegas, and he says to me, "Did you see that commercial? They came out into the audience and they talked to people. We're never going."
Never, ever. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens, right?
We'll see what happens. So, all right, that will do it for the news.
Oh, I got one more.
Oh, we got one more?
You forget. Busy news
It
day.
was a busy news week.
All right, our last story is Disney considers purchasing Twitter.
Oh, right, yeah.
According to Bloomberg.com, the Walt Disney Company is considering a bid to purchase Twitter Inc. and is currently working with a financial advisor to evaluate this possibility. The article mentions that Salesforce.com is working with Bank of America to also consider a possible bid for the social media company. After the news of Salesforce.com's interest broke last week, the speculation of Twitter being sold has ramped up, leading the company's share price to jump 21% on Friday. Let me just do one more thing. CNBC, those letters were together and they threw me, reports Microsoft.
Like words.
Yeah, like words. No, but there were no vowels. CNBC reports Microsoft could potentially bid for the social media company's service. Along with confirming Disney's interest, CNBC says one company likely to pass on the deal is Facebook. So I think that's interesting.
One of the things I read was that Disney's interest in this is it would be another channel for them to they would be able to bring a video component to Twitter that it desperately needs, and it gives them a channel to do that. And being a media company with a lot of video intellectual property, that's where the marriage is. I don't know how I feel about Disney owning a significant social media company. What
Filters, you're afraid maybe they'll filter tweets and they'll
Put little
take
ears on the little
take like
bird.
a content.
beyond video? Look, we can take a look at the trends of the last 5 years in particular. It's gone on longer than that. But over the last 5 years, especially with the advent of magic bands, the amount of information Disney trades in now in terms of what people like, what people want, what people do is extraordinary. And there are entire groups within that company dedicated to doing nothing but mining that data. Twitter would give them access. Owning Twitter would give them access to a whole new treasure trove of information on the behavior, likes, dislikes, what's trending, what's not trending, of 150 million people, I believe, that are on Twitter. I just pulled that number out of my behind, so I don't know.
We're just all going to go along with it.
So I think that probably is driving more of this interest than anything else. Because right now, so much of what Disney is doing in terms of their marketing is driven by this kind of information.
This also might be a younger demographic than what they
However,
entree into a younger demographic.
And wouldn't you want to understand? Wouldn't you want to understand on a cellular level what appeals to how to market to that demographic?
I have a question though. I see a lot of, we're on Twitter, and I see a lot of people saying things like Twitter is now over. Twitter is for older folks.
Yeah.
It's things like Snapchat and these type of things. Is Disney getting into something that's maybe a little bit too late?
Absolutely not.
You don't think so?
Facebook has definitely skewed on
Yeah,
the
to the older.
older generation starting to pick up on that because it is a very visual format for them to be able to scroll through, find information, stay in touch with family. I mean, my grandma, I think, is close to 90, 88 now, and she's on Facebook. I mean, that's just...
Does that make it bad?
That's... No, I don't have a problem with it.
But remember, Facebook was started as a social media outlet for college
Yep,
kids.
only.
Only. It was exclusive to that.
Yeah.
But in order to generate the kind of growth it needed to become the behemoth that it is, you
Yeah.
can't just go with that. You have to have...
No, and I was in the not the very first round. Obviously, I didn't go to Harvard, and I wasn't there with Mark Zuckerberg. But I was in the second round of colleges that Facebook opened up to. So it was cool to be able to see the whole progression and how it's moving on. With Twitter, though, I think the primary use for it is not only is it a way for celebrities to really be able to connect with their fan bases in a much easier fashion, but it's also become the place to go for breaking news.
It really has.
It makes news just passes faster. It's to the point. Obviously, if they want to tweet out a link to a news story, they can, but it's become a place where people can get this information out so quickly. And
in very small bites.
Yep. And I don't think Disney could touch the format too much. Otherwise, it would risk ruining the entire format of how Twitter works.
There's also a whole thing. I apologize.
I was just going to say, I just checked. It's 313 million monthly active users.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you're talking about an extraordinary number of people that Disney is going to have what I like to call cellular level access to their trends, their behaviors.
A word I had heard before but seemed to be being beaten over the head with, especially in this election cycle, is the word millennial. And how they are now one of the biggest voting blocks and they are one of the most important voting blocks. And I'm not trying to make this a political discussion, but that's where I keep hearing that word. And I've got to believe that that age bracket is important to companies.
Absolutely. No, I mean, look, that's the most coveted age group in terms of advertisers. So there's certainly value there.
Well, being part of that group, I really want to say that I feel important.
You're a
I think there's-
millennial?
You're a millennial.
Please.
See, now you're hurting my feelings.
He's
But
just
you know
right
what?
at the cutoff.
I think it's the next generation they're moving into.
Well,
You
look,
know, they've got to get it. They
one
got
of
to
the
start
things-
somewhere.
One of the things Disney has done very, very well is prep young kids to become adults who take their families to Disney World. We see that all the time now. That these kids who, I'm looking at two of them. There's two more on a computer screen in front of me right now. Mary Potter is there, like doing hand gestures. But these are guys who, were raised on Disney films, raised going to Disney parks, and now they've become the next generation of Disney customers.
I'm always impressed when you see children who are so young and they seem to know who Mickey Mouse is. And I think to myself, even when I was growing up, Mickey Mouse was kind of not the ubiquitous cartoon. I mean, he was not the one you saw on Saturday morning. There were not Mickey Mouse cartoons on when I was a kid. But they seem to know who Mickey Mouse is at birth. So I think there's something in the water. I can't explain it.
It's because of me. I give everyone a baby Mickey Mouse.
It's Julie's fault.
So it remains to be seen. I mean, this is Disney expressing interest in Twitter. Of course, Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, founder of Twitter,
Also on the board of Disney.
is also on the board of directors for Disney. So how that plays into this...
The minute Twitter tells me they want pictures of my feet, I'm out.
All right.
So it remains to be seen where this is going to go.
That'll do it for the news.
All right. Thank you, John. Before we move on to Rapid Fire, Oliver Green and Stephen Elizabeth Porter are over in Disney Springs, standing in front of a structure that appears to never change. It is in a constant state of construction. It was supposed to be done this summer. Clearly, that didn't happen. And, of course, we're talking about Planet Hollywood. So how are you guys doing? How's the weather today?
We're good.
Yeah.
The weather's actually really nice. It's more in line with Californian weather today. There's not that much humidity around.
There's a little bit of a breeze.
Yeah, there is. We're getting a good breeze here. So to get the best view of what we're going to show you behind you, we came onto the top of the Coca-Cola building, and there's a nice breeze up here.
All right. So what are you seeing with this? Like I just mentioned, this was supposed to be. There were signs up all over the place. Summer 2016. Well, we have now left summer 2016, or are about to, and this doesn't look like it is any further along than it was in June.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, there's still the stars from the Planet Hollywood are still visible, and they actually have guys scaffolding the building right now, going up and down. I don't know what they're doing, and they also have large gray tarps that are covering one side. I don't know if they're already starting to paint the other side or what these gray tarps are about, but it looks like they are making some sort of progress.
They're putting the new exterior over the old exterior.
Right.
That's what I
heard.
Looks like as well. Let me see if I can give you a close-up view
But
of
they
what's going on.
show us the main entrance because that's come along now. They added that in the lower part there.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's come up pretty fast.
And I think that's actually a good addition because with the old way that Planet Hollywood was, the stairs would go outside for long lines of people waiting out in the summer nights when it's like super hot out and they're just waiting in line for a table. Now it looks like they can at least have some AC while they're waiting for the table.
When was the
That's
last
very
time
true.
anybody waited in line to get in Planet Hollywood?
Yeah, really. I'm just what are we hearing in terms of when this is supposed to reopen?
They changed the sign to fall.
Yeah, I can see the sign from here. Yeah, it says fall 2016. So maybe
and-
they'll just keep pushing it back.
And from what I understand, it was due to cost constraints that this is being delayed, and that's why the decision, they were originally going to completely redo that exterior, but then they decided, you know what, let's just cover it up. And so they're building basically another structure over it, so that they don't have to go through the expense of literally gutting that outside and
Thanks, Shang.
Isn't
rebuilding
it fall 2016 right now?
Yeah, and from what I've heard is that right now I think it's targeting November, December. So it'll be the end of fall, the very end of fall.
Yeah, even now, there's only like a handful of construction workers working on there. There's not like, it's that nice, slow Disney construction we're so used to seeing. There doesn't seem to be any haste in getting it up.
Yeah,
So.
it's not an all hands on deck kind of a project.
It's
No,
sponsored
not
by
at all.
Avatar Land, I think, is what it is.
Maybe the
Yeah.
inside is done. Maybe the inside's completely done, and now this is just the last piece. And
No, you can see through the building. It's empty
Oh,
inside.
yeah. I don't know if you can see this, but the inside isn't done at all. It's still... this is just the exterior that's really starting to be done, like the observatory building here and the brick building you can see on the bottom.
You don't
The
know, maybe
inside
it's supposed
still
to
looks
be like
terrible, and sorry, not terrible. unconstructed. That's probably not even the correct word. And the actual globe itself is, well, yeah, it's half done.
Well, it's go ahead, Steve.
I just think that I didn't realize, but if this gray tarp is supposed to be the finished product, I think it looks horrible.
Oh yeah.
No,
it
I
just
wouldn't have.
doesn't look good.
I don't think that's good. No, I can't imagine.
No,
It's
there's going
supposed
to
to
be like a metal sheeting over it because it's supposed to look like an observatory.
Yeah, I'm imagining they're going to have to put something between the original exterior and whatever they build. So maybe that's what you're looking at, or maybe they're doing repairs to that.
Sorry, there was a huge wasp.
Oh wait,
It was as big as a jumbo jet, honestly.
this is him screaming. I love it.
Oh my lord! Thought you're pushing Steve off the roof.
Yeah, really. I was like, don't jump. It's not worth it.
It was as big as a jumbo jet?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it was huge.
Where are you guys right now?
On top of the
Coca-Cola
store.
building.
Pay attention,
It's
Rhino.
funny you should mention that, actually.
Oh, did they ask that?
They said
They mentioned it.
Because Steve had never tried the Coca-Cola, the international Coca-Cola cups you
Ew.
can get here, and we've picked out our two favorites.
Yeah, it's a pretty affordable. Like.
Oh, well,
fun
hold
thing
on.
to do.
Before you guys go any further, let's just make sure we explain to people what it is you're talking about. At the on the top level of the new Coke store that is at Disney Springs, they have basically an outdoor refreshment area where you can go and you can buy samples, like they call them soda flights, of 8 or 10 different sodas from around the world, much like what you get in Club Cool at Epcot. But you can also get like ice cream floats and other things. They have freestyle
Jack and Coke.
Yeah, you can.
Well,
at night,
after
I
4
think.
p.m.
Yeah.
After 4 p.m., you can get alcoholic beverages along with that. So what these guys did, apparently, I guess you did a flight, and is that what you did?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the international flight. So how many do you get?
We got, there's, I think it's 16.
16 in total,
16
yep.
total drinks for $9. So they are small cups, but you get to try a lot of different things. A lot of them is a lot of overlay from Club Cool, but there's also some different ones, some new ones, some equally bad as Beverly choices. So
And Beverly is on there as well, if you were wondering.
yeah. But,
We've
it's
got our
fun.
favorites, though. That's what we picked out. So what can you remember
Yeah,
what you
mine
got?
is the Smart Watermelon from China. It's really
good.
Like sweet. It's really, really good.
Mine was the Honduras choice, which is Delaware Punch. So, yeah, very sweet, very nice.
And I will say that was my second favorite. So
I want
There
to
you
watch
go.
them both drink Beverly
We gotta
now,
get
too.
Steve sunglasses.
Yeah, Steve, don't you have sunglasses?
Oh yeah, it looks like you're enjoying that.
Wait there, let me try it again.
So, all right, guys. Well, thank you very much for dropping in. Oh, I say dropping when you're on the 3rd story. So,
Yeah, I'm standing next to a glass wall here, and I can see straight down. Please don't say that.
Hope there's no bees.
yeah, really. But thanks for dropping in, guys. Have a good rest of your day.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, so that will do it for that.
I don't know why we're so excited about a bad restaurant reopening. I really don't know why.
Well, hopefully it'll be better. Hopefully,
Yes,
because there's
you'll
going to
see.
be a lot of changes
There
made
could
to the
not.
menu.
It could not go worse.
There'll be a lot of changes made to the menu, and at least this construction isn't tying up traffic. It's an eyesore, but it's not like what we had to deal with when they started like closing roads and building garages, and we couldn't park anywhere. So I'm so happy with Disney Springs right now. I'm excited to see this. If it's anything like what the rest of the additions have been like, I think it could be very good. And I'm willing to forgive Planet Hollywood for years of abusing us, in hopes that they will learn from their mistakes and do better with a new restaurant. But who knows? Anyway, we're going to move on to Rapid Fire. Throw it over to you, John.
All right. For those of you on Podcast Cruise 6, I know everyone's anxiously awaiting information. This has just been posted on the Disboards and has been sent to everybody in email. We have pre- and post-cruise stays at the Walt Disney World Swan Hotel. Been very, very difficult for us to get pre-cruise stays at any Walt Disney World hotel. It's just full up. So the Swan was very, very nice to us. Our good friends there, $159 per night.
Such a good price.
Plus tax, and also in addition, there is that resort fee that they charge. but this is like $50 less than their normal rate. So it's a pretty good rate. Both pre and post cruise. Information has been sent to everybody on the cruise about how to go about booking this. So do me a favor, if you haven't received that email, you can write to me at john@dreamsunlimitedtravel.com, and I'll make sure we check your email and we make sure you get that. I also want to mention, too, people are very anxious. They want to know about our transportation. We will definitely have transportation to and from Walt Disney World to the cruise, and also from the cruise to Orlando International Airport. Again, what we usually do is hire a company, private buses, and all of that will be spelled out very soon. And also,
Are we doing one of those with like the stripper pole?
we are. It's going to be a party bus with
Tracy Heinrichs?
with a keg. No, Teresa.
Teresa on the stripper pole.
Yeah.
Just put them in the back of the what I'm driving. 3 at a time.
There you go. And also, folks are very, very anxious to hear about our events on the cruise. We are working out on all the details of our events, and hopefully soon we should have information about what we will be doing, what everybody's going to be doing, so you can plan your cruise. We're working on it, I promise.
All right. Thank you, John. Kevin.
Last week or the week before, I mentioned that there's going to be a new ABD adventure October 21st of next year. They've added a Rhine cruise for the fall, and it's going to be a food and wine cruise. And there weren't a lot of details, but I have some details. This goes on sale September 30th. I've heard from some of you. I have all your names. As soon as I have more information, I'll let you know. But if you're interested, and after you're done, you can write to Kevin@dreamsunlimitedtravel.com, and we can get you all ready to go too. Day 1 is going to start in Basel, Switzerland. There'll be a Swiss cheese and wine welcome reception. Day 2 is in Strasbourg, France. I apologize. I am going to murder these names. Some of them I'm reading for the first time or the second time. There's going to be a Rickware walking tour, Rickware culinary tasting of sausage and coconut macaroons. There's
Sausage macaroons.
Sausage and coconut.
There's going to be a tour,
Macaroons.
tasting and blending at a local winery, a visit or a presentation on board. They're not sure yet. This one is the one that sounded the most fun. There's going to be a tart flambe class and wine pairing with beer and Alsatian wine. And there's going to be on your own time in Rickware or Strasbourg. Day 3 is in Strasbourg, and there's going to be a patisserie class. Day 4 is in Mannheim, Germany. This is a new port for specifically for this sale date. And at this point, the activity details are not available. I'm sure that will be out eventually. Day 5 is in Rudesheim, Germany. There's going to be a George Beuer vineyard or Adolf Storzel vineyard wine tasting, a tour of George Beuer vineyard, Beuer. And again, I apologize to George. There's a food and wine tasting.
You're being racially insensitive to George.
I am. I'm going to dress up as him for Halloween. Food and wine tasting on the Rhine with demonstrations. In day 6, you're in Cologne, Germany. There's cooking and wine demonstrations. Day 7 is in Amsterdam, Holland. And there's a Heineken factory tour, a caramel waffle demonstration. Great. Just make them. Keep making them. And the last thing is a House of Bowls cocktail. Bowls, B-O-L-S. Calm down. Cocktail workshop. And that's it. That's what I know so far.
Do we have pricing on these cruises?
They're not releasing pricing at all.
I didn't tell Kevin yet. I have seen pricing. I am not allowed to release it or talk about it. However, I will let you know it is surprisingly good.
Oh, good.
So this is news to me.
Yep, surprisingly good. So we will have it actually on our site in our calculator. So if you want to come to the site and book
I've
it
got my brass knuckles. When I get home, I'll get it from him.
and get a quote from Kevin on that when
It's only
released.
a couple more days. It's September 30th. They're going to release it. And the whole ship is open for this booking.
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin.
If we weren't going to China, I think we would be on this trip.
I think
Yeah.
so too. It looked really good.
Does look good. All right. Thank you, Kevin. Teresa.
Okay, if I can read this on my phone. The Muppets interactive experience coming to Liberty Square at the Magic Kingdom will begin Sunday, October 2nd. According to thread on disboards.com, showtimes will be 9:05, 9:15, 10 o'clock, 10:15, 11:45, 11:55, 12:10, 1:15, 1:25, 2:20.
Okay, you just said multiple times.
Okay, multiple times.
Because I know these people are in their car or on their treadmill writing this down
They are.
furiously as you're reading
I know.
along.
I just want to say it real fast. It sounded good.
Next week, Teresa announces the movie times at the AMC Theater.
The show is
4:15.
called The Muppets Present Great Moments in American History. I would love to do that.
Why don't you just
and
tell
welcome
me?
to Movie Phone. Sorry.
Why don't you just tell me the name of the movie you want to see?
Right.
1:30,
you want-
1:15.
You want to see that? Oh, that's terrible.
2:45. That's
Don't
horrible.
go see that.
Okay, let me go on here, John. Okay.
No.
The show is called The Muppets Present Great Moments in American History and will feature town crier James Jefferson and his friend Sam Eagle, Kermit the Frog, Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear, and the Great Gonzo.
Fonzie Bear.
Fonzie Bear.
Hey. Fonzie Bear.
Fonzie Bear. They will share
Muppets-a-mundo.
stories with early American in their own Muppet way. The Muppets will appear in a second-story window of the building in Liberty Square and interact with guests from there. Don't go, John. They're interacting with guests.
Did you say the beheaded Muppets will be?
Beheaded Muppets. We'll be rolling out the window and hitting the center of Liberty Square. Don't go. They're going to be interactive.
Yeah, we should, please.
So
Last thing I need is a
I think it
Muppet.
sounds fun. I'm
very
really excited about
excited
this. I am too.
I am very excited.
Oh,
when
it's
does it start?
You want the times? Hang on.
No, the date.
You want
the
the
second.
times.
I'll give you the times.
October 2nd, multiple times throughout the day. Check the park guide. And don't ask Teresa to read the times. So, thank you very much, Lady Eccles.
This is
Lady Martin?
very exciting. Very, very exciting. Joffrey's Coffee at Walt Disney World is celebrating National Coffee Day by offering discounted coffee. So this Thursday, September 29th, stop by a Joffrey's kiosk and get a 16-ounce hot or 24-ounce iced coffee for just $1.
Wow.
Wow.
That's pretty
How
exciting.
about their frozen drinks?
I
Iced
just said
coffee.
Iced coffee or hot coffee?
16-ounce hot or 24-ounce ice.
We were at one coming out of Animal Kingdom Sunday, and we got the lemon frozy thing, and there was a frozen cappuccino thing. So that might
Oh, it's a little cappuccino. Sorry.
cappuccino. But it was too tart to drink.
I watch too much TV and too many movies.
lump or two.
So Joffrey's
two.
is also offering several new flavors for fall. They're going to have a harvest latte,
Pumpkin.
which will be rich espresso blended with creamy milk and caramel sauce with green apple syrup, served hot or over ice, and topped with whipped cream. A pumpkin pie latte, which would be rich espresso blended with creamy milk and pumpkin pie flavoring, served hot or over ice, and then a pumpkin pie chai.
Pumpkin
Creamy
pie.
chai and flavored with pumpkin syrup, served hot or over ice.
Rhino, have you been to
He did the gasp and the pearl
Dairy
culture.
Queen? They've got a pumpkin pie blizzard. Oh, it's got the crust in there and everything.
Oh,
It's
I'm
awesome.
going.
So I think this sounds like a great deal for people who are going to be in the park on Thursday. Get your $1 coffee.
Just on
Absolutely.
Thursday.
Huh?
Just on Thursday.
Just it's National Coffee Day, not week, not days, one day.
I don't drink coffee.
She's that guest.
Yeah, exactly.
What time's the 3 o'clock parade?
Well, thank you very much, Julie.
never said that.
Gregory.
Okay, you can now get a D-Tech On Demand iPhone 7 case at the D-Tech On Demand locations. So yeah, if you have an iPhone 7 or 7 Plus, you can customize your case now. And if you just want a prepackaged one that they sell everywhere, they will start rolling those out in early October at some point.
Pete, do you have the 7 yet?
That's what I was
Yes.
going to say. Did y'all
Just got
rush
it.
out and get it?
I was joking. Did you really just get it?
Yeah.
How much different size-wise is it? Than
Well, I got
6
the.
Plus?
I had the 6S Plus, and I just have the regular 7. So it's a very small phone. I'm going to tell you, I switched over to the Samsung Galaxy
This is the regular 6.
S7 Edge. I switched over to that. Here it is. As my primary phone a few months ago. First time ever since the iPhone has come out.
So a different number. That's why I
No,
can't
it's not
get you
the
on
different.
the phone. Okay.
Same number. Same number, just different phone. And mainly because, and I'll play around with the 7, but and I'll do a fair comparison. This is a better phone. I love Apple, but they're not innovating. Samsung is. Now, sometimes Samsung innovates too much and their phones catch fire.
Right.
But that's not a problem with the Edge. That was the Note. That's the S7 Note that has that problem. This is the S7 Edge. I haven't had any problems at all with it. The screen on this is amazing. The low light photography is the main reason why I went to it. Now, I haven't had a chance to test out
That's what I
low
was
light
gonna ask you.
photography,
We got the
but I
7.
do plan on doing a comparison between this phone in the parks and the the iPhone 7. But I just got it yesterday, so
I'm also curious about the size. Is it really need a whole new case now?
Well, they added the extra camera onto it.
Oh.
So that's going to change.
Protrudes apparently.
But I will tell you something. That phone feels like a plastic toy. You know, where usually the iPhones have some heft to them. No, this feels like a piece of plastic. I'm really disappointed right now in the direction they've gone in. Apple's not innovating anymore. Every single thing is just like an incremental upgrade, and most of it is trying to catch up with what their competitors are doing. Whereas it used to be their competitors were falling over themselves to try and match Apple. That's not the case anymore.
Apple used to lead, right?
And they don't. They lead from behind.
So they created the chicken nugget, but they didn't perfect it. Like McDonald's, right?
Where's that cricket noise when you need it?
Yeah. So that's just kind of how
And they removed the headphone jack. I use my headphone
what's
jack a
that
lot.
about?
I feel. This is something they do. But I don't know.
I think I'm skipping this
So
upgrade.
again, I haven't had enough time with it yet to be able to really say anything. But
But I just got the 6 Plus this
just
summer.
on spec,
Is that the big one?
Just on spec, using it for a little while last night, I didn't see anything that led me to believe that, oh wow, no, I need to switch back to iPhone. Really happy with the Samsung. So, but that's me. So, okay, thank you, Craig. Rhino.
So mine has to do with the Wheel of Fortune. They're planning a Disney Grand Adventures Week. So Disney and Wheel of Fortune are teaming up again, and it's the Grand Adventures Week, like I said. So it's going to feature grandparents who are big Disney fans. There's going to be Disney-themed puzzles, all that stuff. I thought this was interesting because Pat and Vanna are taking in the sites around Walt Disney World during it, and they were actually filming that
already
during our
did, yeah.
the agent familiarization thing. That's why they were around there, because I was like, oh, I
They
bet
were in the
there's
little car thing.
Yep.
You saw them.
Yeah, so it'll be cool that
They
you
weren't
should watch.
sweating. I couldn't figure that out.
It's a lot of makeup.
plastic,
yeah. But some special Disney guest stars will be on. One lucky viewer will win a grand adventure at Walt Disney World. It's going to take place, or actually just started last night, and it's going through the end of this week. So if you tune in, maybe you'll see some of your spots. Maybe you'll see Teresa staring at
Right,
Vanna
holding
and
my
Pat.
drink at the dock.
But that's it.
All right. Thank you for that, Rhino. We were going to do a little bit about some of the rumors that have been swirling around lately, but we're about 10 minutes past 2, and I think what we'll do is we'll push this. Yeah, Teresa, that clock says it's
Okay.
7:15, so
Freaking me out.
so I think we're going to push that to next week. So we'll actually go into depth on some of the rumors.
We had a lot of
that are-
news this week.
We had a lot of news
Yeah,
this week.
unusual week.
Yeah, especially lately. So that is going to do it for our show for this week. We'll see you again next Tuesday with another edition of the Diz Unplugged. Thanks for being with us, everyone. And remember, stay out of the damn lakes. Bye.